Very good morning to all my dear friends. I hope you all are doing good. I'm Prashant here and I warmly welcome all of you to Study IQ. It's a very beautiful morning today, isn't it? You have sunshine accompanied with a little bit of cold. Anyways, dear friends, let's start our day with a positive quote by Osho. What he says here is that all that you call sin is nothing but mistakes, and mistakes are the way of learning. Those people who never commit mistakes are the most stupid people. I would like to add a little bit over here that those people who never commit mistakes, basically they try to run away or they are afraid of conducting mistake. It's not altogether their fault. It is many a times we find society as well not being that supportive when you are or when you conduct or do some mistake. But the thing is that when he says that those people who never commit mistakes are the most stupid people, and the reason is because if you are running away from mistakes, then basically you are running away from taking action. With this, dear friends, Study IQ has added many pen drive and tablet courses, right? GPSC, you have this test series of SSC, CGL plus CHSL 2018. UPSC's optional paper subjects are now in our pen drive and tablet courses, so make sure you check out StudyIQ.com to know more about it. I'm sure you need one because they are designed by the best faculties of our country and they help you immensely with your preparation. The first item that we have is pertaining to Jellikai. Yesterday I provided you a picture of Jellikai, remember, and here what we are getting in this article is that Jellikai events has so far claimed 2 onlookers, right? It has claimed the lives of 2 onlookers, and 2 more have passed away in other pockets of Tamil Nadu. And safety arrangements are basically conducted by this district administration, right? Collectors and IPS, and so in future many of you would be doing or arranging for or preparing for this Jellikai events. Now the thing is that it is celebrated after this during this Pongal season. We know we had a off as well in the Hindu, and this lecture was, of course, we continued this thing, but the main reason is this Pongal, and Pongal is a term, it is associated with harvesting. You remember last time when we talked about this festival thing, I told you how a society that is predominantly agricultural based society have this sort of harvesting festival, or post harvest you find all this sort of celebration because people would be having money in their pockets. Now the thing is, so far this death of more than 2 people, so far 4 people have died, right? Onlookers have died, and this district authorities have, you can say, clearly failed in ensuring or providing a sort of proper cordoned area. Now the thing is, last year a massive protest took place in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai, right? On this Mariana or Marine Beach. I don't know the exact name, but it is a very famous place. You have this a grave of late Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu over there as well. Now the thing is, we saw many youths at that point of time. Of course, this editorial is not talking about the past incidents, right? It is just mentioning this one line here, that last year's protests against the Supreme Court ban on Jellikai. But what I would like to add here is that, see, Jellikai is a sport that is celebrated in rural pockets of Tamil Nadu. And it is quite strange that you find youths, right, living in urban area protesting for Jellikai. So it seems at that point of time as well, this sort of things were discussed, that it could be not people who protested in this Mariana Beach, they might not be directly affected by Jellikai, but they were taking out, you can say, their they were not happy with the central government's support, and it was basically a protest against central government for not taking a tough stand. So anyways, this Jellikai, you have 2 sides. On one side you have people who are for Jellikai. They consider it as their traditional, you can say, traditional sport associated with Tamil identity. And then you have, on the other side, you have human animal rights people, and you have other people who are for human rights as well. Because what happens is that even the watcher, right, the people who are just witnessing this sport, they most of the time they as well are they are the part of this fatality that is caused by this bulls. So this is the thing, and so far nothing has happened. It is going as it used to. Even the Supreme Court's order was not followed. So Jellikai 2 is a sort of bit of a problem for centre, for Tamil Nadu, in terms of its clash with the views of Supreme Court as well as central government. And this Animal Welfare Board people, they have, if we turn back the clocks a little bit, couple of years ago, then we find that it has advised this Ministry of Forest, it has advised that and environment, it has advised to stop this sport altogether. But government has not taken any sort of tough stand, and this is clearly a failure of authorities, right? These people being killed by the bulls, onlookers particularly, if they are affected or if they die, right, then it is the responsibility of local administration. With this, dear friends, we have another item pertaining to finance, or you can say bank. Now the thing is, you know that government at present is not good when it comes to its fiscal management, right? It has breached its fiscal deficit target. So the bonds of this government securities, government bonds, the prices of government bonds have come down, and all those banks who were holding these bonds, right, it's a sort of asset for the bank. So banks, right, they purchased government bonds, and what is happening at present, and what happened basically, is that the fall in this price, or fall in the value of these bonds, has resulted in a huge loss for bank, estimated to be 15,500 crores. The other thing is that we know that credit offtake is not happening. That means the money is there with the bank, but people are not going there to borrow or to take credit or say loans, right? So this is a situation. The situation is quite tough here, because what is happening is, at one side you have deposits, so you have to pay interest to all your depositors, and you are not able to sell your loans, so basically you are not earning that much interest. At the other hand, you have non-performing assets, so and now you have this fall in this bond price. So banks are beaten from all the sides, and one thing is that this deputy governor of RBI has clearly stated that you cannot expect, what banks are asking is that please allow us some time to repay the money that we owe you. Now the thing is, banks are supposed to be good at assessing the market situation. They should be able to assess what is going on, and if things are not in their favor, and if they are asking for some leeway or some breathing time, then this is something that should not be allowed, because this is a very bad habit that bankers have developed. We have seen that this non-performing asset, one of the reason is the wrong decision, right? And many a times you know that evergreening has also taken place. Evergreening means that you take a loan of 100 rupees from the bank, you're not able to pay back, then you have some good relationship with your bank manager or decision maker, then he will give you another 50 rupees as a loan, right? And this is written as that if we give this 50, then he would be able to make some money, and then we would be able to get this 100 as well. Again, this person fails, then another 100 rupee, another 50 or 100 rupee is given to the same defaulter. So this sort of evergreening has been done by the bank. So this is the time that they should learn a lesson, and they should take this responsibility and challenges. With this, dear friends, this one is about following the grain trail. It's a very important article. See, so far what we know, or government has been talking about this thing called Aadhaar, as well as direct benefit transfer. You might have heard many good items. You would be knowing about the figures as well with the help of direct benefit transfers. So far we have said somewhere around 50,000 crore rupees, right? Good. That's fine. If we are saving this money, it's good. But is it creating some troubles, or is it something that you can say that it is Sigma 6 or 100% foolproof? The answer is no. And this article, in this sense, right, it is very important. It is talking about the failure of this PDS system, and the way we have, or the way government has made it mandatory to seed everything with your Aadhaar, and money that you get is through DBT. So it is creating some problems. And in basically the two examples that you have here, how Aadhaar as well as this DBT has failed in different parts of this one is talking. This article is specifically talking about the state of Jharkhand. Here is Jharkhand, here is a map of India, and here you can see Jharkhand. So Jharkhand is sharing Ranchi, right, is its capital, and you can see it is sharing border with many other states of our country, right? So it has Bihar, you have Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and West Bengal. So it is not sharing border with Bangladesh. So keep this thing in mind, just in case many times you find this sort of tricky questions as well. And you should be aware about where exactly Jharkhand is. Many of you will be from Jharkhand, but for those of you who don't know exact location, then I would reckon all of you to spend at least 5 minutes after locating Jharkhand and see its political map, physical map, and other thematic maps as well. It is rich in minerals. So go through it, go through the thematic map of Jharkhand as well. Now, if you don't know what thematic map is, then if you turn the pages of your Atlas book, then you will find maps showing you coal deposits, or you can say agriculture products and things like that. So these are called thematic maps. So make sure you go through the thematic map of Jharkhand as well. Now, the thing is, India's public distribution system, that is known as PDS, is in danger. It has always been in danger, if you ask me, because earlier on what used to happen is that corruption and leakages, this were the biggest challenges when it comes to this our PDS system. The intention of PDS system is good, but the thing with our country is that we have wrong people, right, at you can say the place there where you need ethical, right person, right, with the right characteristics, right attitude, you don't have them. And many times the system is created in such a way that even an honest person is basically, when enters the system, all those sort of hurdles are created so that that particular person is not able to perform. Anyways, we are not talking about all those sort of things. We are talking about this two things called compulsory biometric authentication as well as direct benefit transfer. These are the two things that have created, or that have added, you can say, more problems for the people and for the system. Now the thing is, I think it was yesterday we were talking about this girl, right? Remember this Santoshi Kumari? It was in September 28th. It's not that far as well. We are talking about 2 months ago. It was a big news, and many articles were discussed on this platform as well. We talked about why she was not able to get food when you have this Food Security Act, and you know that you can get grains from the government at a very, very reasonable price, or you can say nearly for free. Then as well we see people dying of hunger in our country, and one of the main reason is that Jharkhand government has made it mandatory that if you don't seed your Aadhaar card, right, and if you don't have this Aadhaar based biometric authentication, then you won't be able to get your supplies from PDS. So basically, even if your that fingerprint scanner, if for technical reason it is suffering, right, or if it is not performing, then you won't be able to get your supplies. So this is, first of all, this is the biggest challenge. The other thing is that vulnerable groups, right, particularly elderly people, they find this thing a sort of big headache. Imagine a person who is not keeping well. Nowadays we see many a times, you see many people, right, elderly people, they are living on their own, right, many a times they are a widow as well, or they are single, so they are the only one, and if their health is not that good, then it is nearly impossible for them to reach this PDS shop. So designing this Aadhaar thingy, what we have missed is basically we have this policy has not taken into consideration the culture of our country, right? It is very important, and I must tell you this thing, that if whatever policies you design, or if you are even trying to understand some policies, then you cannot ignore our culture. You have to keep this thing in mind. I'm sure you know this thing, that it is quite common in our culture that if you need something, elderly people will freely ask kids who are playing in the street, isn't it? They will ask this elderly people, they will ask these kids to buy something and something. I have gone with a bag. I'm sure many of you might have done this thing, right? It is something part of our culture. So this thing can be done as well, that you have this wireless machines, right? Nowadays we have this POS, point of sale machines, that are wireless. And when we get to this, when we order something from Amazon and Flipkart and other sites, then this person will come with a sort of gadget as well, right? That is wireless and that is connected with the internet and things like that. So we can have something like this, right? When it comes to this, if you are compulsorily, if you are making it mandatory for everyone to get this biometric authentication, then this is something that should be done. The other thing is that there should be some contingency, or you can say there should be some you can say emergency plan B too. Say for example, for whatever reason, for internet reason or for whatever reason, if your automatic machine is not working, or if your this digital products are not working, then you can create a sort of ad hoc slip or something, right? This can be designed. This is not rocket science. It is very easy, that you are issuing this much amount of grain to this person. You take their fingerprint, in the sense you take their thumbprint using this traditional ink method, or you can get their signature and things like that. And then we can balance this thing out. And if of course if the internet is not working, then you could report this thing, or you can, if your machine is not working, then you can report it. So whatever transactions are conducted in that bracket, in that particular bracket, can be sorted out and can be verified. So simple is that. Here we go, this is a solution. So connectivity and biometric failures are creating or they are taking away lives of many people. And the other thing is that people who have worked for the longest period of time, if they are engaged in some sort of labor work, then their fingerprints, right, they are not, as you can say, when I say clean, I don't mean to say they are dirty, I mean to say they are not that they lose this calluses that they have on their hands. So because of this thing, it becomes very difficult for this gadgets to capture their fingerprints. So this is happening, right? This happens, and this is creating some sort of problems as well. So the government should come out with this sort of things, and this mass cancellation should be stopped, because technical things are not taken into consideration. And 11 lakh Aadhaar cards or ration cards without Aadhaar were cancelled, and then government realized, this Jharkhand government realized that it was a bit of mistake, so they have reissued some ration cards. Now I hope this Aadhaar thing is clear to you now. Now one more thing is the second item is this direct benefit transfer. Basically means that your benefits will reach directly into your bank account. Now here as well you have a problem. The problem is that, say for example, this is a sort of hypothetical family. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 members in this family. Now let's imagine that this to one girl and this little boy, right, they don't have their Aadhaar card, and their name is not seeded in this basically they don't have Aadhaar card, right, and it doesn't matter if their name is seeded in this ration card or not. If they don't have Aadhaar card, then this family of 7 will be given or will be allotted only a ration that is enough for 5 people, because the government will not consider this to as their family member, as till they don't have their Aadhaar number ready and seeded with their ration card. So this is again, right, this is again creating lots and lots of problem. Again, we have not focused on our culture. Now the thing is, earlier on you used to get you would be able to buy this ration, say for example rice, for 1 rupee per kilo. If you go to a ration card shop, then you can go there and you can provide your ration card, and this you can get this rice for 1 rupee per kilo. But now because of this DBT, you have to pay 32 rupees. Now of course government is going to give you 31 rupees in your bank via this DBT, but the thing is that you are seeing lots and lots of long queues in all these 3 steps, right? In this ration shops, you are seeing it in the banks, and you are seeing it in this Pragya Kendras as well, common service centers as well. And this is eating away huge amount of time of people, right? So this is, again, as you can see, this is a big failure. It is creating more hardships, and at the other side you see government is cancelling Aadhaar cards without giving any sort of notice, and it is asking for this 100% seeding. And what they do is they cancel some job cards just to prove that 100% seeding or the targets are achieved. So this sort of things will not work, and these two are very good example when you want to say something negative about, or you can, if you want to highlight. When I say negative, I mean to say, of course, you want to improve the things, right? So this DBT as well as Aadhaar, this example is a very good example of you can say failure of this thing. And many a times, if you are, just in case if you are asked about criticizing this DBT as well as Aadhaar, then you can use this example and it will fetch you good marks as well. Now this one is about India and Israel. We have been talking about India and Israel. If you are following PIB, that is Press Information Bureau Analysis, then as well we have talked about this thing, right? So this relationship between India and Israel is good at present. There are some things that are mentioned here. This article is basically about, see, Israeli Prime Minister, he wants more and more tourists, right? He wants more tourists from India to visit Israel. And I have said this thing earlier on as well. It is the people-to-people contact that matters. And if the relationship between two countries, if the relationship between the people of two countries is cordial, if it is good, right, if they have a sort of warmth and emotions attached with each other, then you can build all the things that you can dream of, right? Then you can take this, or you can term this relationship that sky is the limit for this sort of bilateral relations. Now Benjamin Netanyahu is accompanied by a large delegation of defense, cyber, agriculture, and you name it, right? Trade, investment, and tourism. And tourism is something that they are quite keen about. They are going to invest $5 to $6 million in India in a bid to boost tourism, and their goal is that 1 lakh tourists should visit Israel from India in 2018. Now the thing is that if we go back a little bit, then we find that we were not we were not knowing that much about Israel when we talk about 50s and 60s. When I say we, I mean to say the common man, the common people, right? We were not knowing about this thing. But the thing is that in our country, right, if you go back to Akbar's age as well, then you find Jews were living here in our country. And Kerala is quite famous, right? It is quite famous for its, multi-religious history. Muslims, then you have this Syrio-Malabar Christian, and then you have Jews as well living there peacefully, everyone living there respecting each other, Kushti. But the thing is, it was not as, this thing was not promoted in Israel. This is something that we have missed for a very long period of time. We have this Jews, right? We have Maharashtrian Jews, we have Konkan Jews, we have this Keralian Jews, and because of this thing called, it is a Hebrew word, Aliyah. Aliyah basically means the right of any Jew to ascend to Israel. So if you are a Jew, then you can anytime, whenever you like, you can go to Israel, and Israel will welcome you, and they will provide you house, and they will provide you all the opportunities so you can start a new life. So this has been because of their history, right? This has always been supported by Israel. So many people from our country, right, many Jews, whom you can call it Indian Jews, right, they migrated to Israel, but unfortunately they were not able to promote the Indian culture as it is, right? The colorfulness of our country was not that much promoted by them. They were knowing about this Israeli people, they were knowing about Tagore and Mahatma Gandhi, and you have a street as well named after Rabindranath Tagore. And this famous, there is a sort of hospice, right? There is a hospice in this Jerusalem, and it is a sort of guest house. At present it is a guest house. If you want to visit this Al-Aqsa Mosque, then people from all different faiths, they can stay here, and it was built in the name of Sufi saint Baba Farid. Baba Farid is a very famous Sufi saint of India, right? He visited Jerusalem 800 years ago in 13th century, and this is a connection that we share with Israel, right? India and Israel. This you can clearly say that the relationship, or we are historical. The relationship is quite historic. I told you about Akbar as well, isn't it? A couple of days ago it was in news. We have talked about this thing. I remember I highlighted that Vadodara's Gayakwad, he left a sort of a big space for, he basically provided this space to Jew community. So this is the thing, and now Prime Minister of Israel has termed this relationship as a human bridge, and we have to ensure that we make the most out of this people-to-people contact. We have our potential to take this relationship to a higher level. And with this, dear friends, this one is about, very quickly, this is about this India and Nepal, and particularly it is talking about illegal migrants. Now the thing is that India and Nepal, we have this Indo-Nepal Treaty of Peace and Friendship that was signed in 1950, and it provides for this open borders. Now since this 2015's Nepal earthquake, we are seeing or witnessing that many people are illegally entering India. Nepali people are what they can do as well, because they are in such a situation after this earthquake. They have Nepal is already a poor country, and then you have this sort of big earthquake. So it is a very desperate situation for the people who are affected by this earthquake. Anyways, so what we are saying is that too much of illegal migrants coming here. So this is something that is not healthy for India as well. So what we can do is, of course, we cannot shut the borders. This is going to create problems, and this is going to snatch away livelihood of many people who rely on crossing border for their survival. But what we can do is we can equip our intelligence network, and we can deploy some effective monitoring mechanisms. With this, dear friends, we reach to news items of the day. CJI meets judges. You know, these 4 judges, they came out in the media, and they were not happy about CJI's some sort of actions taken by CJI. So now finally they have met, and they have decided to sit together and sort out the issues. So of course, as we have discussed earlier on as well, these people are quite mature, right? They are good in decision making. They are good in they have proven their skills in this thing. So of course they will sort this thing out. This picture is of Moshe. I'm sure you might have heard about this kid, Moshe. Prime Minister, when he visited, our Prime Minister Modi, when he visited Israel, at that point of time, he specifically visited or met this boy Moshe. He was a small child, right, when he was here in India, and he is in fact a victim of this 26/11 attack that took place in Mumbai, because he lost his parents in this horrific attack. So he visited this Chabad house, right? I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it right. Chabad house. It is also known as Nariman house. So he visited his place, and he was saved, or you can say rescued, by a nanny, Indian nanny, who used to look after him, and it was her courage, and she is still living with Moshe in Israel. This is about government to revisit Malimat report. Now, Malimat report is basically talking about it was a committee formed back in 2003. It came out with its report in 2003, and it is talking about reforming criminal justice system. We know the state of our criminal justice system, right? You have few people who are doing all the back-breaking work, and then you have lots and lots of people who are trying to create all those sort of hurdles. And criminal justice system starts from police to, you can say, courts, and you can of course have advocates and other people as well in this thing, and society too, I would say. So criminal justice system should be reformed. It came out with 158 recommendations on crime investigation and punishment, and one of the key, or you can say one of the most important recommendation was confessions made before a superintendent of police rank officer be admitted as evidence in a court of law. You have two different you have people who are supporting this idea, you have people who are opposing this thing. The people who are opposing, they are saying that if confessions made before a superintendent of police is acceptable as evidence in the court of law, then you know very well that police have different ways, right? Beating someone is something that is very common in our country, sadly. So this sort of things can be used, and the other people, the other side is saying that if you don't trust the police, right, then you are missing. Like, if you can trust a sort of collector but you cannot trust a superintendent of police, then this is something not fair, and this is creating some operational hurdles as well in performance. So let's see whether government is going to follow it or not. With this Hajj subsidies to be phased out, has been said by Minority Affairs Minister, and there is a special video lecture available on our YouTube channel, right? A couple of months ago, 2 months ago, I have discussed in detail what Hajj subsidy is all about, how it works, and why it is going to be phased out. What is the stand of Muslim community? What is Quran talking about this thing? So if you want to know all these things, then do check that video out. I think it is of 20 minutes or something. So make sure you check it out. And it was back in 2012 when Supreme Court ordered that by 2022 this subsidies should be phased out, and the government has said that these funds will be used for education of Muslim girl child. Only the strong survive. This is a statement coming from Israeli Prime Minister. He has said that intelligence, big data, defense, preparedness are absolutely necessary when it comes to national security. He inaugurated this Raisina dialogue, and you have people from different parts of the world who take part in this Raisina dialogue. It is basically a talk, or you can say it is a function of External Affairs Ministry, right? And it is about our foreign relations with different countries. Prime Minister of Israel also said that we should attack this bureaucratic bottlenecks with an axe, or basically he means that we should get rid of this red tape and bureaucratic hurdles, and we should sort out or take decisions as quick as possible. He also talked about this thing that he likes a soft power, but hard power is often better, and he said that the present day's challenge can be met only if we have good security, situations, or you can say all these equipments and all those systems that can ensure good security. With this, Netanyahu is going to gift us this Gal mobile, right? Remember this jeep that is used for desalinization of water, and here it costs 70 lakh rupees. It is going to be gifted to our Prime Minister. With this, dear friends, disability pension on this thing, government has said, Defense Minister has clarified that there is no proposal at present to withdraw pending appeals against disability pensions and benefit. Yemen, so far 5,000 children have been killed, and nearly, you can say, 40,000, 4 lakh, right, 400,000 are severely malnourished. And this is Yemen here. This is Gulf of Aden. As you can see, this is Arabian Sea, Saudi Arabia. So you know that if we head west in this Arabian Sea, then we reach here. This is a country called Yemen. The capital is Sana'a. This Aden is a very important port as well as city, and this is the reason why it has got, this water has got its name. Gulf of Aden. You have a small strait here which is known as Bab al-Mandeb, very important one, and this portion here is known as this African portion is known as Horn of Africa. You have very important country here called Djibouti. With this, dear friends, two items from financial paper. All this coalition for Aadhaar, we are going to see a coalition of Aadhaar. Nearly 50 companies are going to come together, and they are worried about, they don't know, of course, no one knows what Supreme Court is going to, or what stand it will take on Aadhaar, but they are a bit worried about it because these are the companies who are using Aadhaar card for many other purposes. This is about e-way bill. Now the e-way bill, you know how it works. We have discussed about this thing, but there are a few questions, worry lines, right? Whether the system would be able to handle the pressure, and what about these businesses? They are not ready yet. There is lack of understanding and strict timelines and things like that, so it is going to create some more pressure. Last one, Australia, right? You have this great barrier reef here. This is one of the, you can say, diversity hotspot here, but because of climate change and bleaching and this sort of things, it is visible, right? This coral reefs are getting destroyed, so this is something that Australia is worried about. Everyone should be worried about this thing, and UNESCO World Heritage Site means it is declared as UNESCO's World Heritage Site too. So Australia has said that it is going to fund for research if someone can find out some solution for, or can provide a solution for this destruction of this Great Barrier Reef. With this, dear friends, these are your questions. Regarding yesterday's question, the answer lies in the 1st January's Hindu discussion, Hindu analysis, right? So make sure you check that one out. We have talked about this thing, and here you have a question. You have to arrange this events in chronological order. Cripps mission, cabinet mission, quit India movement, individual satyagraha, RIN mutiny. And in reference to freedom struggle, Usha Mehta is well known for what? You have to tell that as well. With this, dear friends, I end this discussion. I will see you all soon. Enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.